Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Not Minding My Own Business. I'm your host, Russell Farbiars, and I'm joined today by Brian Klein of Blue Ink Notary. Welcome, Brian.
Hey, Russell, thanks for having me on.
Sure. So, Brian, tell me a little bit about your business, what you do at Blue Ink Notary.
So I am a mobile notary. I've been based out of my home in Exeter, and simply put, I provide mobile notary services to clients in and around the Berks County area when they can't get away from their home or their office. They need documents notarized, whether it's loan documents or a power of attorney, their wills, whatever it might be. I travel to them and save them the headache of having to get to some place to, notary shop or whatnot to get their documents notarized.
Wow. So I'm sure that in particularly over the last couple of years where people haven't been leaving their houses as often, that's been a pretty convenient service. So how have you found the last couple of years in the industry?
It's been crazy busy. Most of my work, I do mortgage loan closings and refinances, buyers and sellers and whatnot. And through the last couple of years when interest rates were low as can be, I mean, it was insane with the amount of people that were refinancing, pulling money out for this project or that project or, around the house, whatever it might be, since they were home. It was crazy busy. It's tapered off a little bit now, with interest rates having gone up, but now I diversify and I'm getting into a little bit more of what I refer to as general notary work, where people need their powers of attorney notarized or whatever other documents outside of mortgage loan closings.
Yeah, and in our business, where we do estate planning documents, it's always nice to have a mobile notary who can do that notarization for folks who maybe are housebound or are just busy and don't have the time to drive to an office. Do you find that? So is that part of your business picking up a little bit now? Now you're working.
Yeah, definitely. I've been marketing specifically towards that purpose. So yeah, I'm starting to see the fruits of that labor now. So
that's wonderful. So let's go back to the beginning. How did your company get started?
Kind of if fluke is the right word or not. It just most of my background was in the food service industry. So I used to manage food and beverage operations at stadiums and arenas and convention centers, and just got out of that and then did a bunch of different things in the time after that, and just nothing truly stuck with me that I said I can see myself doing this long term. And then I was laying in bed one morning scrolling through, of all things, Facebook, and I stumbled across an ad from a gentleman that teaches a course about doing loan closing. So I watched that and checked that out, Googled him, checked out his YouTube page and his other videos and stuff. And I said to myself and my wife, this kind of interests me. Maybe I'll take a look more into doing this. So sure enough, I took the notary education that the state of Pennsylvania requires, took the loan signing course that I had seen that ad for. And a little over 3 years later, here I am.
And now I know you're full time doing this,
Yes.
which is wonderful.
Yeah, I started full time. I started this part time around another part time job that I was working. But then when school started opening back up, I guess since fall of 2020 I've been doing this full time.
That's great. And what is your favorite thing about being a mobile notary?
Two things. One, obviously, just meeting new people every day, learning about them, learning about their stories. We, get into where they've been, what they've done while we're, in the middle of signing documents. And then two, I'm a huge dog lover. So I love getting all the puppy love and then petting all the pups at people's homes.
That's great. I was thinking yesterday as I was driving to work that I need to do something that involves more dogs because dogs are I love dogs too. So
Yeah,
um,
they're great. They're such
yeah,
an extension of our families.
yes, absolutely. Uh, all right. So let's talk a little bit about you about you. How do you spend your time when you're not working?
Spend it most of the time with my wife and my daughter. I have my wife works from home. She works for a pharmaceutical company, and on the technology side of things. And then my daughter, she's in fourth grade at in the Exeter School District. So we spend a lot of time doing shopping, going here, going there. I'm a big soccer fan, so we go to a lot of soccer games. I'm a Philadelphia Union fan. You just hang out with some of our my daughter's friends and their families in the neighborhood. And my wife and I, we pretty avid on when somebody's in town that we want to see live. We're into live music, so we
Nice.
go to a good amount of concerts and stuff like that. So that's the bulk of it.
What's the most recent concert you've been to?
Was actually a comedy show. It was Bill Burr up at the Santander Arena.
Okay. And what's the best show you've seen in the last couple of years?
The best show I saw in a couple of years. We actually, my wife and I, we did a trip down to Nashville. We're huge Eric Church fans. If anybody is
Yep.
familiar with country music,
Yep.
so we saw him play at Nissan Stadium where the Tennessee Titans play.
Oh, nice. Very
It was
nice.
like a 3.5, almost 4 hour show. It was incredible.
Wow. That's great. All right. So are you originally a Berks County native or are you a
No,
transplant?
I'm a transplant. I've been here now. I've been living in Exeter 18 years, been in Pennsylvania 21. I'm originally from northern New Jersey, about an hour, 45 minutes west of New York City.
Where in northern New Jersey?
Parsippany?
Okay. I'm originally from New York, so
Okay.
I'm familiar with northern New Jersey.
Yep,
Uh,
yep, yep. My
so
parents, my sister still live up that way. So I get up there, every once in a while.
yeah. So what brought you out here?
Work. I mentioned earlier that I used to be in the food service industry. Once upon a time, I was the food and beverage director at the now Santander Arena. So that's what brought me out here back in 2001.
Nice. And you've stayed, so you must like the area.
Yeah, I mean it's a great area, a great place to live. The cost of living, as you know, is a fraction of what it is in the New York, New Jersey area. So
Yes. Yes.
but our goal one day is to relocate probably once my daughter's off to college down to a warmer climate.
I understand that, the snow, um, when you're a kid, the snow's great, but as you get older and you have to actually move it, you don't look forward to those
Sucks.
snowstorms. Yeah.
I despise that more and more each year.
Yeah. Well, and what you do, if you need to be out on the road, you don't want there to be snow or ice.
No, no. I mean, fortunately, I'm blessed that I have a second vehicle, that's 4-wheel drive that I can muck through that when I need to. But it's still not fun.
No, it's definitely not fun. What would you say your favorite restaurant in the Exeter area is?
Probably Anthony's Trattoria.
It's a good choice.
Yeah,
It's an excellent choice.
that we
Uh,
go to Alabrije a lot too.
okay. Okay. So with being a notary,
Mhm.
in the last, I'd say 2 or 3 years, we've now gotten online notary
Yes.
capabilities. Do you do the remote online notary as well as
I
in
just
person?
recently, yes, got myself set up on a platform. I haven't done anything yet. I'm in the process of getting all the details on my website, so I will be able to offer that quite shortly, as well as in-person electronic notarization as well.
So e- explain to our listeners what these different types of notarization are. So we've talked about, there's the traditional ink and paper, the
Sure.
electronic, the remote online notary. How do those all work?
So the online notarization, basically it's done through a online platform, utilizes most of them Zoom, to meet with the person or persons that are signing the documents. And similar to in person, you need the person that is requesting the notarization, they need to provide their ID to the platform. And then in Pennsylvania, there's a secondary check and balance or verification of the ID of the person's ID, I should say, that uses knowledge-based authentication. So if you've ever applied for a loan or a credit card and you've had to answer questions like which of these four addresses is not related to you, or which of these lenders might you have a car loan from? It's questions like that that they will ask you in order to verify that you are who you say you are. Now, the thing with online notarization is not everybody has access to it. In order to be able to answer those questions, you have to have lived in the United States. You have to have owned a home, and you have to have owned a vehicle. So if you're a renter and you commute using the bus or some other means of transportation, never owned a vehicle, unfortunately, that online notarization platform you're not going to be able to get the notarization completed through that. Now, the in-person electronic notarization, sorry, it's a tongue twister, is you're still meeting with the client face to face, but rather than actually signing a stack of papers, you're signing on a mobile device, be it a tablet, a laptop, something like that.
Interesting. I guess what's the benefit of the in-person electronic notary versus just doing it the traditional way?
Well, for when you're doing a loan closing, whether somebody's buying their house or refining their house, loan packages can be 100 to 200 pages, depending on the lender and the title company. So you're essentially eliminating all that paperwork, and everything is done digitally via PDF documents. So you're saving the paper, which is saving the trees. The online notarization, because you're not traveling to and from, the appointment, you're saving wear and tear on your vehicle, you're saving fuel, which obviously then helps save the environment as well. And then both platforms help cut down on the use of needing to shipping of documents, so you're cutting down on UPS, FedEx, the Postal Service, the impact that they might be having on the environment as well.
Okay. Now, have you found that lenders are accepting these electronic signatures or electronic notarizations?
Personally, I've not done any just yet. It's still in the infancy stage, and various platforms that are out there are getting the word out and expressing the benefits of some of which I just mentioned, to the different lenders and title companies that are out there. I think eventually, more so on the mortgage side of things, I think the in-person electronic notarization is going to be the one that's more prevalent there. If somebody contacts me and says, hey, we need this or that document notarized, it's just a one or two off document, I think the online notarization will be more prevalent for instances like that.
Yeah, and my experience with lenders has been, that even though Pennsylvania law allows the recorder of deeds to accept electronic signatures on deeds and on mortgages and whatnot, that a lot of lenders still want that ink signature on the mortgage and the note. So that's, it's definitely a hurdle at this point. And I'm not sure that the lenders have made any progress in their thinking.
It's probably minimal at this point, but if COVID has taught us nothing else, it's the convenience of being able to do stuff from home, with all the grocery delivery services. Obviously, Amazon has done a boatload more of money throughout COVID with, being people just ordering stuff from home. And the younger generation, they're more in tune to that dynamic. And I think if they're not there now, by the time they get into when they're buying their first home, I think that's something they're going to want. And I think at that point, it'll become more prevalent.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that COVID has taught us about the convenience of doing things remotely, and not always relying solely on the face-to-face.
Right.
And obviously, if your business is booming, you're seeing that a lot of people in the area feel the same way. what challenges have you faced with folks in terms of your mobile notary business?
Um, I guess sometimes somebody will contact me and they might ask, if they, especially pushing now with the general notary work, they'll say, hey, I need a power of attorney done for, my mom's and her dad's in a nursing home, whatever the situation might be. We got your name and number from so and so. Can you help us? And yeah, sure, I can help you, but unfortunately, I'm not an attorney. So that's when I need to contact Russell and say, hey, Russell, I have a client that needs a document drawn up. So that's kind of like the biggest thing, is because I'm not an attorney. I can't prepare things like that when the need arises. But like I said, I got good referral partners like yourself that I can send those folks to when that need arises.
Yeah.
Sometimes, other than that, the biggest thing is having or not having a valid ID. In Pennsylvania, when you present yourself in front of a notary and requesting a document to be notarized, you need to have a valid ID, that valid being not expired.
Yeah, that makes sense. And do you experience any confusion in the community? Because I know in the Hispanic community, the phrase notario is more akin to an attorney or a
Or
lawyer in the Hispanic communities. Do you get some confusion in what you can or can't do?
as far as with the Hispanic community, no, I haven't run into any issues like
Good.
that. No, unfortunately.
Well, this has been a wonderful conversation. What is something that you believe people should be more aware of about your industry?
That's a hard question. I guess just the basics. When you request the document to be notarized, or when you have something that needs your signature notarized on a document, just have all your eggs in a row. Powers of attorney. Oftentimes we'll need witnesses. So a lot of times it's something I run into as well, where like they need a power of attorney witness or notarized, but they don't have. When I ask if they have witnesses, they're like, "Oh no, can't my husband be a witness or something like that?" Well, no, if they're named in the power of attorney, we need somebody outside of that. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. I mentioned already on the IDs, just making sure you have a valid photo ID. The primary ones that you can utilize are a driver's license or a state issued ID card, a valid passport, or a military ID are generally the most common ones I see.
Okay. If someone needs your services, what's the best way for them to reach out to you?
A couple ways. They can visit my website, blueinknotarypa.com. If they want to get set up and request an online notarization, they can go to blueinknotarypa.online, or they can give me a shout or send me a text at 484-509-1405.
All right. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you. Again, Brian Klein from Blue Ink Notary. Thank you for being
Cool.
here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, Russell.
All right. And to all our listeners, thank you again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on Not Minding My Own Business.
Bye.